This video helps you continue working with pivot tables, and it builds on the previous ones. This one computes averages, minimum and maximum in the type of variables that they required. So we have here a database on conscripts. So we have here the height given in Danish inches, have their names and some other information. So as any analysis, we start with a pivot table, and Excel knows where it is. And then let's start with just put count here. So we want to count people, and then just use this origin that I think has been already calculated to see, okay, we have 100 people, some migrants, some natives. The kind of things that we know already what to do is just, for instance, have a look at this. How many migrants and natives were rejected? So this is as far as we went with our previous analysis. So, but just let's do something different. So let's talk about the height. So we can put the height in the rows, and then we see that heights were given in inches and then quarter inches. So we have things all over the place. And then we have a -1 that we have coded as being a missing case. So one of the first things that we need to do is that before working with this, we need to express it, we need to get rid of this -1. We can do it here and selecting it, and then we are sure that now we are not going to include it. We have already learned how to group things, so this is something that we could do. We could just go and say group. So we start at the first one that we have, probably it's something like 60, 55, and then we start in so the last one that it's given, 55, and then we go by 5 inches, let's say. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is a way of doing it. And we have the different heights in categories, and then we can look at it by migrants and by natives, and this is fine. But sometimes we want to do something more, and we can actually compute the averages. So let me ungroup this for a second. So rather than grouping things, what we can do is compute averages, and then we get also some interesting results. So instead of summing count, because we're all counting people, then we take this from here, and actually we move height from row labels to values, and see what happens. It is now adding heights. It is basically adding up each of the different heights of each individual, which is not very helpful for us now. So let's see what else we can do. So we go to value field settings, and remember that here we can express things as percentages, but no, we don't want this. We want to go summarize values by, and this is what we're going to do. Generally, we could use this count and see what happens. And then so we count things. This would be the equivalent of counting, of adding up our one variable. But we don't want to count. We want to actually get an average. And this is what we get here. So now what is this? This is the average height for migrants and for natives. And you can tell me, wow, but this is really, really low, 47, 52. Most of the people were actually around 60. What is going on? But remember that there was these -1s. Yeah, they are there. Why are they there? Because we haven't taken them out. When height was here, we unselected, but by moving it to values, now we're counting everything. So the way that we have to deal with this is just move height to report filter, and then see that it shows up here. And what we do now is just say, okay, we want to have everyone but -1, and see what happens. Oh, this is more like it. So see that height is here is just only showing the actual cases that have values, and now we have the average height of migrants and natives. We could also express it in this other way. Maybe that's nicer to look at. And here we have the heights. We can take this and put it somewhere else. So we keep it, so remember to pay the values, and then we have average height. And then we go back to our table and say, okay, but how many? Because now there's some people missing. How many have we missed? So what we can do is just say go, and now we count. And then see that now it adds up to 80. Why is that? Because this is the 20 people that had no information about height, that it's not being used for the analysis. So that what we can do is just put it here, so we know with height. So we know that our averages are being computed over only half, well, not half, a little bit less than our full sample. What else can we do? So as we've seen, another thing that we can do is just look at other ways of expressing the heights. And then if we go here, you see that we have a possibility of displaying the maximum and the minimum. Let's see what happens. And then we see that the migrants, they were as tall as 68.75, and the natives, they were a little bit shorter. The tallest person among the migrants was a little bit taller than the tallest among the natives. And then what we can do is just put it also here. So we have the maximum. And then we go back and we can do the same thing with the minimum. We go there and then see that always it tells you what you're actually computing. And then the minimum. And then we see, we put it over here. And then we see that the shortest among the migrants was actually shorter than the short about the natives, which is interesting. We have that the tallest person was among the migrants, but also the shortest person was among the migrants too. So interesting. Minimum. And this is what we have. And then we could have a further look and then say, okay, what happens? So now we're only using our 80 cases. So just let's bring everyone in. But then we don't want to be computing heights, but we want to actually see how many people we have. And this is the total number. So this is something else that I would take with me. And let's say all. And then we would be able to see this would be an analysis of the heights of individuals. All the individuals, then those who have height, and then the average height, maximum and minimum. That can help us understand how similar or how different they are. And anything can come from here. When you go to value field settings, and then you see that there's more other things, but this is not the time to do it. But this is a way of looking at the functions, and you can use this for heights and for anything that is running numbers, like number of children, number of houses, number of anything. You could actually do the ages. If you would like to have the average age at marriage, that could be also another variable that you could use, averages, maximum and minimum, to have a look at. You can always recode and group heights or children or anything, but sometimes it is also very useful to have a look at what is the average, because it's a very used measure. And that is all that I have for you.